Hi everyone! Oh my gosh, I really thought I was gonna try to like look better for this video, but then it became 8 p.m. and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna film this and not worry about makeup. I've looked worse on this channel, but just know that I don't feel good about myself. Anyways, as you can tell from the title or the thumbnail of this video, it's not gonna be like any of the other videos I normally make on this channel, and that's because, well, October's kind of been a crazy month. I was thinking about it, and I think October has kind of like always been objectively a crazy month every year, but each year it is for different reasons. But that being said, this is the video we are getting this week because I do not have the mental capacity to really like do anything else. But that being said, do not be alarmed. I will be back to my regularly scheduled content pretty soon. Fingers crossed. I do want to get back, but I just did not really have the time or energy or like ability to tackle anything else other than just kind of talking about what my life's been. So this is kind of a story time, but I thought I should give you like some context on how I got into the scenario, because I am assuming that you have seen and or read the thumbnail or title, so let's paint the picture, okay? Okay, this might be a lot of pointless information, but it is going somewhere, I promise you. I am the youngest of many siblings. There are 6 siblings to be exact, and I still live at home with my parents, and all my other siblings are, I don't want to say significantly older than me because it makes me sound like I'm like, oh, they're so old, but like I am significantly younger than most of them, and all of my other siblings have like lives and families and stuff. Anyways, one of my sisters who lives across the country came to me and my parents' house and stayed with us and brought her daughter. That same week, another one of my sisters who lives only around like 3 hours away also came into town and stayed with us and brought her dog. And big breath. One of my sisters who does live close had a surgery, and she has 2 children of her own. They were on fall break and did not have any school that week, which meant they spent a lot of their time at our house to hang out with the other family members that are in town. So there were a lot of family members, and I don't expect anyone to keep track, but moral of the story, there were a lot of people at my house. And that means I did not really have much time to focus on YouTube or like kind of anything else. My week kind of consisted of me going to work, getting home, spending time with my family, and then going to bed. I just want to make it clear that I am definitely like not complaining about that though. I don't want it to sound like I don't like seeing my family, but I just kind of wanted to, I guess, like paint the picture of why I didn't really have too much time to like focus on anything else. However, something that I will complain about is what happened after my family left. So yes, all of the family left and, you know, went back to their home. And then even my parents were out of town because my dad was having surgery. And wow, I am just realizing that there is a lot of surgery happening, but don't be alarmed. Everyone is fine. Anyways, literally like a couple days later after everyone leaves, I am home completely alone and my plumbing system kind of like self-destructs. Also, this might be important to mention, but my bathroom has an up-flush water system because I live in the basement. And I won't get into too much detail about like plumbing in here, but like all you really need to know is that whenever like I flush the toilet or water goes down to the drain, it goes through like this tank that is then like motorized to like shoot the water up, because basically it just needs to like defy gravity to get to where it needs to go. And so the pipe and the tank just kind of like exploded, and yeah, I guess you can kind of assume the mess that kind of happened because of that. And I will admit that exploded might be too violent, but it was more like a flood or a leak. But anyways, it was super gross and super stressful. So I think you understand what happened. It also happened at like 2 a.m. So I was half asleep, like on my hands and knees, just trying to like get everything under control, just so I would not like ruin everything in my house. And I was like crying, and I was on FaceTime with my mom, and my cat was like just being not helpful. Like everything was just going wrong, and I was not okay to like mentally handle it. We did end up getting everything fixed. Everything has been thoroughly cleaned, and like the floors have been mopped probably over 6 times, and everything has gone into the washing machine like at least twice. We are good. It is fixed, but it did take like a week to kind of get everything under control. So yeah, I was just like not really in the mindset to like feel like I was living. I just was very much in survival mode. So I know that so far this just kind of feels like it's been a big rant to explain my lack of usual video this week, and while I do not deny that, I promise all the backstory is important for the context of my fish journey. Okay, so you're probably asking yourself, where does the fish come in? That's a valid question. Okay, so when my sister and her daughter that live like, you know, very far away came into town, we also had a really big street festival going on in my city. It's what you probably think of when you think of like a Midwest festival. There are a lot of food stalls, questionable carnival rides, and like game booths. I think you might have an idea of where this is going. So one of the days, they went out with some friends and they came back with, you guessed it, a betta fish. Now, if you remember, they live across the country, so getting home does involve like airplanes, and there was just a lot of traveling and like not being 100% sure what the procedures are with a fish, and the fish kind of just basically ended up with me. I do want to make a big disclaimer here that I in no way, shape, or form endorse or like support this kind of treatment of fish. Like, it does kind of hurt my stomach a little when I see fish just like in tiny bags hanging up at carnival tents and being sent home with families who are not prepared to take care of fish. That being said, I did not like win the fish or play for the fish, but I was willing to take care of the fish and try to give it better living conditions. So I will not lie, I offered to keep the fish both for selfless reasons and selfish reasons. So it was kind of selfish because I had always kind of wanted a fish. I never had any pets growing up because my family was like not a pet family. We were a very busy household, so like now that I'm grown, I think that it was very responsible of my parents, but whenever I was a kid, like, man, did I want a pet. And by the time I was old enough to have and take care of a pet, I already had a cat that was like very terrified of other living things, including other humans that weren't me. So I was just worried because she was very finicky and I didn't want her to like kill any fish. I do know that you could make the argument like, well, if you really wanted a fish, you still could have gotten a fish even with a cat. But I guess I just didn't really want a fish that badly enough to like actually get one. So like, yeah, but I did kind of like subconsciously had this part of me that's like, oh, I always wanted a fish. Now, the main reason I ended up with the fish is for selfless reasons, which is we didn't really want the fish to die. I'm sure there are like some sort of procedure for flying with fish, but we were just really unsure of what that was. Like, again, it was not something that they planned to get a fish, so it was very like last minute, like, can you fly with a fish, like what are we doing? And like, I guess I didn't want them to go to the airport with a fish just to be stopped at TSA, and like what if TSA confiscates it or makes them get rid of it, you know? Like, there was just so much unknown that I didn't necessarily like feel like they needed to take the risk. I also didn't think the fish would like enjoy being on an airplane and being sloshed around in a tiny cup for too much longer. So, moral of the story, drumroll. I don't want to actually drumroll because I don't know how I'll pick up on camera, but I got a fish now. But that is not where the story ends. Oh no, because I have spent so much time and energy stressing over this fish. I'm still not done because like every day I'm watching a fish care video on YouTube or I'm reading some sort of forum on Reddit because it's kind of consumed my life and I'm not sure if it's for better or for worse. So yes, a lot of work has happened post custody of the fish, and I've literally lost sleep stressing over this fish, okay? Now, having surprise ownership over a fish is very stressful in and of itself. I think the first thing that really hit me was the cost of keeping fish. Now, I knew that keeping fish was pretty expensive. I've been to pet stores, I was friends with the reptile kids in school, and I know like the price of aquariums. And not just like the tanks, but like the filters and the heaters, etc. Like, I knew that it was going to be a lot of cost. However, there is a big difference between knowing something and being prepared to do something. It also didn't help that this month was already pretty tight on money because of my other pet. I don't want to get like too into detail about like financial things, but earlier this month, my cat was breaking out in like open sores along her back. It was very stressful, so I took her to the vet. If you have pets and you've taken them to the vet, you could kind of guess how expensive the vet bill is. So it was the checkup, it was a lot of shots. Also, October is the month that we need to refill Toki's flea medicine prescription, and like, whoa, that's more expensive than her vet bill. So that, on top of all my other monthly expenses, I wasn't really itching to drop any more money anytime soon. There was just a lot of stress and also like an internal debate because on one hand, I wanted to get everything that I possibly could to properly take care of this fish. But on the other hand, I also didn't really have like hundreds of dollars to spare, even like $100 to spare. Like I just was really debating on how I wanted to spend my money for the rest of the month because this all happened before even halfway point in the month. But even then, even the line of thinking had me feel like a bad person, and then like just the cycle continued, right? Because I'm like, am I really prioritizing money over like the happiness of this fish? But like, should this fish throw me into debt? So my savior came in the form of one of my best friends, Emily. I hadn't seen her in like 2 months because of just life, and we got lunch and I casually mentioned that I now had a fish I was stressing over. It turns out that Emily used to have a betta fish and she gave me like all of her supplies that she had left over for free. I do want to note that like she is one of those people who are too kind and like refuse to get paid back, but I am planning on like buying her a couple dinners or something sometime soon, so she will be thanked very thoroughly. But anyways, she gave me her old tank and filter along with other care items like glass scraper and like those tank vacuum things. I forgot the name of them right now. So that was taken care of, but the stress still isn't done there. No sir, because I forgot to mention how much time was like probably the biggest stressor. So a lot of the money situation seemed more under control, but man, did I feel like I was working under a tight timeline. Now, if you ask anyone, they will tell you that if you are looking to get a fish, that you should get the tank and set it up like a full month before actually acquiring a fish, okay? Like, it takes a lot of time, not just for like research, but to like actually get things set up. And it recommends to like, you know, have everything set up and like take a month or so before you get a fish. However, as we can probably tell, I was not so lucky, okay? So for me, it was like this big learning curve I had to get over very fast because I did not have the luxury of waiting for a month or like over a month. I already had a fish that was in a tiny container and probably very unhealthy water. Like every day, I just felt like it was very crucial. I'm like, I need to have all of this set up as soon as I can so I can try to get the fish out of this small container. But I also wanted the water conditions for the new tank to also be okay. For example, once I got the tank and filter set up, I then saw more posts talking about like heaters in betta fish's tanks, and I was kind of in this mindset where I'm like, well, I got the tank and filter for free, I might as well spend like $20 on a heater. So then I went and I got a heater, and then once you got the heater set up, they want you to wait like another 24 hours just to make sure everything's working properly, which I 100% understand, by the way. But it was kind of one of those modes where I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad that I get to wait another day before moving this fish over. And I was just really worried because we were getting close to like the 2-week mark of me possessing the fish. So not only was it getting everything set up, something that takes a lot of time that again I just did not have was cycling a tank. So before I got this fish, I did not really know anything about fish. And so as I did my research, which I highly recommend and I'm glad I did research, like unless you are getting into fish keeping, no one tells you about freaking cycling a tank. Like I feel like not even people at the pet store talk about cycling a tank. Like even my friend who like gave me the betta fish supplies did not tell me to cycle the tank. This was what I found out from like researching, and I'm like, well, man, now I need to cycle a tank.
But basically, if you don't know what it is like is getting the whole like nitrogen cycle like set up, and it takes like time to like establish bacteria and like grow things or whatever. I don't know.
A lot of people say it could take like up to weeks to months, and I'm like, okay, so I cannot do that in time. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way to go about doing this is. So I was like in this whole scenario of always playing like, what is worse? Putting this fish into an uncycled aquarium or letting it sit in this small cup with water that is probably also uncycled. Like, I just was like, I don't know. I think it's lose-lose. But I didn't really want to sit for a whole nother month with already probably not the best conditions. But I didn't want to do anything that like would make the health of the fish worse. So I was just kind of at the standstill where I didn't know what to do. I eventually found a video by Caveman Aquatics, and yes, I am going to 100% do a plug for them because wow, thank you, that really helped. But anyways, I found a method with prime and stability, like the CCAM, whatever. And I'm doing that now. So the transfer of the fish is still pretty new. So hopefully I'm not making this video too soon. Cross those fingers. So hopefully I don't like post this video and in like 2 weeks the fish is dead, knock on wood. But yes, along with literally every other thing that has been going on, this is what I've spent a lot of my mental energy figuring out. So I thought that because I spent so much focus on this fish and like not really a lot of time to focus on YouTube, I might as well make a video about it, and it can match my Toki video from 6 years ago on this channel, so it's just maybe a rite of passage for all of my pets to get a video. So yeah. Okay, I think I spent more than enough time talking about the story of this fish, so let's actually go and look at the fish. Oh, real quick, before I go too much farther, just a disclaimer if you've made it this far. I think it's obvious, but like I am not an expert in this whatsoever, so if you do like want to know more, please do not use me as a resource, okay? Do not go, oh, this is what she did, do it. Do not recommend. That being said, if you're watching this and you are really knowledgeable about keeping betta fish, I am more than happy to hear like any suggestions or tips, but please try to keep it like kind. Like, please do not be mean to me. I am trying my best. My heart is in the right place, and I am willing to like take feedback if it's positive, but please do not like immediately hate me. So yeah. Okay, so now let's see my fish. Okay, so here's my fish. They're over there in that corner right now. I will probably take some B-roll footage to show alongside this because this is not the best image to get the best view of my fish, but like, it's not even the best view for myself. This is just bad views all around. But let me do this introduction and then hopefully in the edit it will be okay. Anyways, this is funnel cake. I'm actually not sure if it's a male or a female. I'm not talented enough to tell, so it's a they right now. It's only been in this new tank for around 24 hours now, so I think they're still a bit nervous. I think I might have startled it by like talking and being in this room, so it's up and moving a little bit more now, but they were chilling for a little bit. So yeah, I'm just keeping my eye on the tank's water levels every day, and also with like my fish behavior. I'm still doing like the prime and stability method and waiting until it's cycled. So yeah, I will say goodbye for now. I'll probably let you chill with funnel cake for a little bit longer. Again, this month has kind of been a very weird month, but I do plan on being back soon with more normal, typical content for me. So yeah, I do have a lot of nerdy things that I do want to talk about pretty soon. Please like this video and subscribe. Every single number does mean a lot to me. And so yeah, okay, see you next time, or maybe not. Bye.